He thought it should all be public. Everyone should have access, he believed, to the lake and to the river. So we have the Riverwalk here, the public beaches at the lake, things like that. He also wrote in that plan that he believed everybody in Chicago should be within walking distance of somewhere green. A park or a field of some sort. He wanted us to not only be a very busy and industrious city, but also, well, a nice place to live. He in fact wanted to make us the Paris on the prairie. Loved Chicago, loved Paris, wanted to give us some of that Parisian flair. So even to this day, we're still trying to make Daniel Burnham proud. Alright, we're crossing under the Kinsey Street Bridge now. But there's that one right up ahead of us, the one that is on the right. That is the original Kinsey Street Railroad Bridge. When the original Kinsey Street Railroad Bridge was built in 1908, it was the longest, heaviest bascule bridge in the world. What's a bascule bridge? Well, bascule comes from the French term for seesaw, and that's just how it works. There is a system of counterweights underground, so when they go down, the bridge goes up. When they go up, the bridge goes down. Not on this one anymore, though, because in 2008, when the Chicago Sun-Times moved to this new location, they weren't using the bridge anymore, and since they were really the only ones using it, it was put in this perpetual upright state, reinforced with concrete and stuff, and now it's pretty much just used for wedding photography. So, if you're looking for a spot next wedding photos in Chicago, might I suggest the old Kinsey Street Bridge. Alright, we're coming out the north branch of the river now. We're going to go down the south branch a bit. And the first series of buildings that I'm going to talk about on the south branch were all built on something of a technicality. Kind of a loophole, because yeah, we might be stubborn here in Chicago, but we're also very, very clever. So we are a train-based city, as I mentioned earlier, which was especially important back when everybody took the trains. Back when trains were the main mode of transportation. So lots of trains coming to Chicago, because we're right in the middle of the country. So it's a nice place to pause on your way from coast to coast. We liked when you paused here because then you spent money here. That was pretty great for us. The problem, though, we came to find out, was that all the trains were coming to Chicago, which meant all the train companies were buying all the land. So, yeah, they were bringing people here, but then once people got here, there was nothing for them to do because the train companies owned all the land. Okay, no, wait, we can totally do this. So it's true, the train companies are buying the land. They need it for their rails and their stations, yes. But they don't need the air of the land. Yes. Loophole. Train companies build a series of columns on their land. Then they can sell each of those columns individually at quite a hefty sum. And once you bought all the columns, you could build on top of those columns. We call that air rights. The first of the air rights buildings we can see is coming up on the right-hand side. This gray and black building with the Boeing symbol up on the top. That is, shockingly enough, the Boeing building. The problem with an air rights building is you cannot weight the building in a traditional sense. Traditionally, buildings are weighted down to the bottom. Put all the weight down to the strong, sturdy foundation that's down underground. That makes sense. Can't do that on an air rights building because you're building on the columns. Put all the weight at the bottom. The columns are going to collapse, and that will be the end of air rights buildings. So instead, these architects, these engineers, these designers started taking the page out of the bridge builder's book. They started using a system of cantilevering. Now cantilevering, instead of supporting all the way to the building from the bottom, supports all the way to the building from the top. Kind of like a giant handle. Holds it up and redistributes the weight downward from there. So these columns that we see at the base, which are not the air rights columns, those are a bit further down, these columns don't actually support any weight. As we come out from under the next bridge, you can take a look up behind us at the lower portion of the Boeing building and see up on the top, on the exterior, that cantilever, a white skeleton cross bracing that's up there, which does in fact hold up and support all the weight of this building. Now on our right hand side is the very first air rights building. This is Riverside Plaza from 1929. It is Art Deco in style, vertical lines and repetition. Kind of looks like everything was punched out by a machine. We were getting into that machine-made age, the conveyor belt era, if you will. Now, the next series of buildings that I'm going to talk about are all on our right-hand side. They are collectively known as the Gateway Complex. They were built over a period of about 20 years. This is going to be a great show of just where architecture was moving and evolving and going to over that 20-year period. First one coming up on the right is this green and black building. This is Gateway 1, built in 1963. It is modernist in style, straight lines and right angles, just the steel and the glass. It is kind of cool though to note that this is green glass, not clear glass. Big fans of green glass here in Chicago. I'll elaborate on that in a minute, but first, up ahead of Gateway 1 is that building that might look eerily similar to Gateway 1. It does. It does in fact look eerily similar to Gateway 1 because it is. That one's Gateway 2. It was built in 1967 as a twin. We weren't satisfied with just having one Gateway building, so we built a second one. And now we have a matching set of them. Again, modernist in style, straight lines and right angles, just the steel and the glass. Now, the modernist style is also called the international style because the idea is you could pluck a modernist building out from where it sits, put it anywhere else in the world, and it's going to fit in. It's going to be okay. This is also a great opportunity to take a look underneath the city, where to this day we have our trains running. We are a city of levels. Here in Chicago, lots of levels. The trains run underneath the city. Above that, we have several street levels for all manner of traffic. And then above that parts of the city, we have our elevated train system, our version of the subway. Now on our right is this white stone and clear glass building. This is Gateway 3, built in the 1970s. And you can see with this one that we're starting to move away from the modernist, minimalist style into something new, adding something different. Not necessarily just the steel and the glass anymore. Gateway 3 is also the tallest of the 4 Gateway buildings, in case you happen to be keeping track of that. Then just up ahead is that green building that curves at the end. That is Gateway 4. Gateway 4 is an excellent example of the style of postmodernism. Now, postmodernism can be summed up in just one word. That's all you need. Reflection. That one word was woo. That one word was in fact woo. Thank you, sir. It's actually reflection. So, Gateway 4, which was built in 1983, has the green glass, which reflects the green color of the river, and the physical curve in the building reflects the physical curve of the river. So it really is all about being in this exact spot. You cannot pluck this building from where it sits and put it somewhere else. It has to be here. It was designed for this location. Right next to Gateway 4 is another giant of a building. That one is our old post office, which is Art Deco in style, vertical lines, and repetition. Now, this post office, when we used it, was the largest functioning post office in all of the world, which actually made a lot of sense, because at the time, Chicago was the mail order capital of the world, thanks in great part to Montgomery Ward and to Marshall Fields, both of which had their headquarters here. Lots of mail coming in, tons of mail going out, so this is a great location for the post. Right by the trains to keep everything moving, gotta keep it all going. Now, this property was in fact recently sold to a European oil magnate who is looking, last I heard, to turn the entire area into a giant shopping mall, complete with an 80-story tower and a parking garage with 12,000 spaces. So keep an eye on this area. Could be changing over the next few years. Right next to the old post office, we built our current post office complex back in the 1990s to keep up with the times. Gotta keep everything moving, gotta keep it all going. Now, this new post office complex was to be a beacon for all future post offices to come. We are very excited about this post office. It's at the height of technology. Everything is shiny and new. There's a place for everything and everything in its place. They have color-coded floors in there, and each kind of truck has its own floor in the garage. It's very organized, very efficient, very exciting. So they had that open again. that ceremony back in 1996. And they cut those ribbons. And the first fleet of trucks drove into those new garages and got stuck because the ceilings weren't high enough. It was a